Yo, what up, Street Talks? Air Kim. Alright, so another turbo thought. So this turbo thought is this notion of going further. So what do I mean by going further? Let me explain. So it seems in life, what is the greatest joy in life is to go further, to not just accept where we are right now, but to go further. That could be metaphorically, physically, and whatnot. So when it comes to like powerlifting, trying to increase your 1 rep max, the goal is not even to like hit a certain number, right? Because like I remember for the longest time my life's goal was to deadlift 4 plates, which is 405, and then, you know, truth be told, I didn't really think I thought it would take me a lot longer to do it, and then one day I finally did it and I was like, wow, that was great, but I wonder if I could do a little bit more. I wonder if I could do this plus a little bit more. So then like a week or two later, I tried 4 plates, then 2.5 on each side, which was 410, yeah. And then I did it. And then it was so interesting. It was that 2.5 on each side, or the additional 5 pounds, which gave me the huge epiphany. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Like, we think about these certain goals and think about once you hit the goals, then that's it. But no, actually, the goal is to always go further, always go higher, always go for more greatness and stuff like that. And I kind of like this attitude to living, because at best, you know, okay, so like, let me speak more concretely. So I think the record for us men is like 115 years of age, and I think for women, the record is 122 years. So let's say, you know, I'm just speaking for myself, right? So let's say, you know, we know for certain a human male could live to be at least 115 years old. So let's round down, right? Let's say 110 years. I mean, if I could live to be 110 years in excellent health, I'd be quite happy. But anyway, so let's say 110, right? So you only got this one life to live. What is you to do? It's not to just, you know, buy a bunch of, you know, earn a bunch of money, buy a house, buy a car, whatever. Like, that's just too basic. To me, it's always interesting to go further. And so speaking as a photographer, blogger, vlogger, YouTuber, you know, philosopher, thinker, artist, whatever I consider myself, the goal isn't to reach a certain goal. The goal is to always go further, to always go beyond, to, you know, whatever it may be. So even if you think about, so this is kind of the crazy thing, is that like people's now are actually less ambitious. We just more like money hungry, and we care more about, like, you know, petty success. So for example, I started rewatching Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey. And you know, this is when it's a really truly great film, is that rewatching it, like I watched it a few times, but then the last time I watched it was like last year, and then rewatching it, there's like a trillion scenes I totally forgot about that I rewatched and I noticed. And so, and you know, the thing that's crazy about 2001 Space Odyssey is that they produced the film in like, what, Kubrick made that film in the 60s, I think, like 65, like 68, I'm not 100% sure. I'm like, yo, that's fucking crazy. Like, I think he made the film before Star Wars. I might not be right, but I'm like, how is it that year 2020, okay, so before this COVID thing broke out, one thing I was philosophizing about, I'm like, yo, we're living in my fucking year 2020. We're in the fucking future, but how come, like, for the most part, all of us is still so basic. Like, we just want basic things, like we want more money, we want to buy a nicer car. We still freaking drive petroleum-based cars. This is fucking insane to me. And I'm like, yo, where's my Jetsons future? Anyways, so, you know, why is it that like no one since Stanley Kubrick, and we have all this new money, infrastructure, resources, stuff like that, how come no one's actually made a film greater than 2001 Space Odyssey, at least in terms of the space exploration side of things? And I don't know, maybe my thought is this, is I think what made Stanley Kubrick so great as a director, artist, visionary, whatever, is that if one wants to truly create an insanely great piece of art that will last theoretically like kind of forever-ish, it's a vision. You as a creator, you need a deep vision, and you must not compromise for nothing. And you know, while you're still alive, you're doing the thing, you're going to be kind of seen as asshole, as a whatever may think, all these bad things. But you must be a commander, you must be a ruler in order to have these things. So like even imagine like Napoleon, if he acquiesced to all of his, you know, to the demands of his other, you know, generals or whatever, and he wasn't such a singular ruler, he certainly wouldn't have built the French Empire as far as he did, and, you know, left this kind of legacy for us. And so similarly, like us as individual creators, so I mean I think it's hard too, because like often when you have to work with other people, you're always going to compromise somehow, unless you could be so stubborn and so hard and focused that you could kind of get things your way. And I think this is the genius of Steve Jobs. He was kind of like a big man baby, is that like he'd cry a lot, he would always like call people names and stuff like that, but he always got things the way he wanted, and thank God he did, because if it wasn't for Steve Jobs' insane focus and thoughts, we would all still have boring beige box, you know, PC computers. So it's funny because if you generally, like I've noticed that if you give enough time in history, enough time to breathe, everything ultimately seems like a little bit justified. So once again, Steve Jobs, while he was still alive, people are like, oh fuck you, you didn't put in USB ports into the iPad, but thank God he didn't, because he wouldn't have been able to build Apple to the level he did, right? And so it does seem that you as an artist, you as a creator, just trust yourself, trust your own gut, and don't compromise, and don't water yourself down. Know that you're the ultimate tastemaker, and whenever people try to bully you into doing something which is against your own taste, then you could only blame yourself. If you decide to crumble and you decide to acquiesce, that's kind of your fault, right? And I kind of, you know, I kind of like blaming myself for my faults or my, you know, lack of courage, because then I can accept whenever I fail at something, I actually had 100% control. Obviously not really, because, you know, reality is, you know, kind of throws you sometimes this way and that way. But certainly, I like the idea that I have 100% control over my life and how I live it, you know, with all the upsides and the downsides, rather than just kind of, you know, being a slave or a prisoner to fate. So I believe in 100%, 120% free will, free control over the universe and my own life. Obviously, like, how my life is going to be manifested is not to my control. Like, even if I 100,000% wanted to become a trillionaire, like, that might not be something that's, you know, like, in the realm of physics, it's possible, it's highly implausible, but I think it just kind of comes down to just like how bad you want it, and like, what are you willing to sacrifice and risk in order to achieve what you desire. But anyways, so I don't know, I just think, guys, like the ultimate life thing is always strive to become the most epic, best you possible, and create the most epic, best things possible. And yeah, just it seems like we've been too much the slave and prisoner of other people's opinions, morality, ethics, and stuff like that. So I would encourage you, if you want to become more innovational, more great, Alright guys, so in today's brave new world, know that 100% of world, your personal life is in your hands. You control everything, and when in doubt, always strive to go further.